Here's a quick run through of some of the learning objects that I created for this Sunshine State Library Leadership Initiative project. So the goal was to create at least five. I have 5, and I hope that this project will grow, but this is the beginning. All right, so I'll just go down from the top. This is the one that I actually created myself, the evaluating resources. Actually, I moved this into a module, so let me run through it that way. Okay. So I had my colleagues, I worked with my colleagues to have them create some of the learning objects, but this is the one that I actually created myself. So here's an overview. Got some learning objectives or outcomes, whichever you'd like to call them. And because it's in Canvas, the module tool works really nicely, so you can just hit next to run through the pages. So here's the actual content. I have them looking at a site about information cycle to help people understand when different types of resources, like news or magazines versus books or scholarly journal articles and things like that, when those might be most appropriate based on how they work in time, basically, and in publishing. And then also a very brief item from Purdue OWL about evaluating sources and the need to evaluate. And then it lists a couple of activities which we'll come to next. And the idea is that if faculty want to put these into their courses, they will have some kind of pre-loaded assignments that they can use, or if they don't want to use them, they can just delete them. So here is a short quiz with some questions that are addressed in the readings there. And let's see if I can we'll move through. And there's also an activity. This one's actually more important, and I hope that people will do it. This is based off an activity that is actually done by one of my colleagues in the 4-credit information literacy research skills course, and I think it's really cool, so I hope that faculty choose to do it. And then the last thing here is a wrap-up. I did encourage everybody to have those elements, so like an overview or like brief description of what this module or page is about, some learning objectives, and the content, and then potentially a wrap-up, although I don't know everyone had a wrap-up section. And then here's just sort of some more information, and I also encourage people to take our course. All right, so to the others. So another of the learning objects had to do with Google Scholar, and this was created by one of my colleagues. So you can see that she has an overview, some learning objectives, and going over kind of strengths and weaknesses, or when might Google Scholar be useful and when might it not be the best option. And another one is how to find peer-reviewed articles. This one was also made by a colleague. And this one actually is in the process of being adapted to be used in a literature course, so that's exciting. I actually went through and kind of added some more questions to the quiz that's the activity for this article, in hopes that it would make it ready for the faculty member to use. So same thing, there's an overview, some learning objectives, some content here. In this case it's a video, and this is a guide. And some actual content that's right there in the page, not just link out. And there's a little quiz. And she provided a summary and also encouraged people to meet with a librarian, and that's her research consultation service. Let's go back. And Refworks is another. I'll come back to the last one. So this is also one created by a colleague. And we do have a pretty extensive Refworks guide, so there isn't a whole lot of content on this page, although you can see in the agenda area it does say, read this. If you want more information, we link to the ProQuest tutorial videos. And then there is a discussion as the activity, and then also another assignment that is available as an activity. And we do have a little wrap-up section here. And last one isn't really like designed to teach anything. It's more informational, and there are kind of two versions of it. It's just a library support or library help page. And one of them is a little bit more geared towards people who might be able to come to campus, and the other is maybe not so much. And I think that the other one is a little bit more filled in. So we'll take a brief look at that one. Yeah, this one's the one that's more filled in. And it's also kind of the one that's more geared towards people who might be on campus. However, it's still useful. It has useful information for anybody, whether they're on campus or not. And so that is the end of my 5 learning objects.